All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to the show. This is Speaking Of Podcast. Today's episode, we have Teresa Vazquez. She's going to be talking a little bit about art and a couple other things. I'm going to just hold your horses. Don't get ahead of yourself. We're going to talk a little bit and get to know each other a little bit, get to know what you do here at the school, and talk about that. But first and foremost, we have a portion in the show called 3 Questions.
Okay.
First question. What happened to the H in your name?
It was never there.
Well, it kind of makes more sense that it wouldn't be, though, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're Teresa with an H, isn't that Teresa?
Well, from what I understand in the Greek, and of course the Greek letters are completely different from, the letters in English, but it was originally there. In Spanish, the H is not there. And so my name was given by Spanish-speaking parents, so it's Teresa without an H.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense at all. So
Okay.
So if we have a person's name that's Teresa with an H, we don't pronounce it Teresa.
Right.
You have Teresa with no H, and you pronounce it Teresa.
Oh, no, it's actually Teresa.
Well, whatever. That's close enough.
No H.
Number 2. What is the atomic weight of plutonium? I'm working on a project at home, and I thought maybe
42.
42. Boy, if you're wrong,
I might
that's
be
going to
wrong.
be really.
There's
that's gonna be a
a
big
slight
problem.
chance that I'm wrong.
That might be. I'm not. I'm just going to take your word for it.
Yeah, I didn't give
Isn't that
you a unit of measurement, so
42 of something.
Surely it's 42 of
Are you
something.
you're going Douglas Adams 42 on me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all right.
I thought you might catch that.
That's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You fellow non-nerds
correct.
that don't know
Yeah,
anything.
fun fact. I actually was able to meet Douglas Adams in Corvallis, Oregon,
Really?
back in 1986. Yeah.
Was he sick and tired of talking about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or
No, he was actually reading from. I'm not sure if it was Hitchhiker's Guide that he was reading from, but it was a book signing type of event. I don't recall which book he was reading from, but he read that night.
Was there a bunch of guys there with like taped up glasses and putting in ear medicine and wearing nose plugs, that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
figured
but
that
I
was
was
the
there,
case.
so that says something about me.
Did
I
you have to
guess.
get in line along with the mothers that were picking up their sons for that? Third question. You ready? Is it true that what a girl wants is somebody sensitive and crazy, sexy, cool? I'm asking for a friend.
Well, I am not a spokesperson for the girls.
No, I just heard a Christina Aguilera song coming in.
Oh yeah,
It's what a girl wants.
Okay.
And I thought, I
those
don't
are
know.
good things.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know that it's not.
Those are good things, but I think there would need to be an experiment with a control group and
Well, you've killed the
probably
joy.
at least 1,000
You have
participants, right?
killed that whole concept
Yeah, I'm
completely.
sorry.
But that's okay. Maybe we need to start doing that.
I'm sure somebody
Don't.
is looking for a good dissertation topic in psychology, and that might be a good one, actually.
That's actually that's an excellent idea that I came up with.
Yes, you did.
If I don't mind
Yeah.
saying so myself. What's your son's name again?
My son's name is Miles.
Miles. Good to have you in the audience today. No heckling, by the way.
Audience of one.
Audience of that's the biggest audience we've ever had. That's like 1,000% improvement of an audience that we've had in the past. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Our intention today is just to rock your soul in the bosom of Abraham and have a little fun. Do you know that song, Elvis? That's a good old song.
Actually, the one I know is I think a Lee Scratch Perry version.
You
It's
know
great.
that?
It's
A
really
Lee Scratch
wonderful.
Perry.
Yeah, Lee Scratch Perry. He He was a major producer for all kinds of reggae albums. He's known for dub, and I mean, without him, I don't think reggae would be what it is today.
Even more so than with Marley? You're going...
Well, yeah. Well,
okay.
he produced Marley among others. Oh, yeah. He produced everybody in Jamaica.
I've never heard of that name.
Yeah, check him out, Lee Scratch Perry.
My wife and I had a chance. Where were we? At Pierre's. Are you familiar with Pierre's?
I've never stepped foot in Pierre's.
You don't need. Let me do you a favor and say no. It used to be really great.
Yeah. I was going to say, back in the day, it was the destination,
it was a thing.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And they used to have a karaoke thing there.
Oh.
Karaoke is an interesting term because it means a Japanese empty orchestra. There's a lot of facts today in the show, folks. It's just tons of facts. Empty orchestra. And so I've used that in all the trivia contests to throw it in someone else's face. That's the only Japanese I know.
Okay. You know what I love about karaoke, actually, is that it's not about the quality of your voice. It's not about... It's not about anything except for offering a gift to the audience, which I always thought was a really beautiful thing. So when I go
punishment, what are we talking about?
I mean, if your gift is punishment, then that would be what Clearly, the audience will receive, and a lot of that has to do with the song.
What's your go-to song then? Everybody has a go-to song.
In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel.
Mm-hmm. Really?
I love that song. I love Peter Gabriel. Really, anything that he's done, I'm all about it.
I like the whole Wall-E soundtrack that he did.
I didn't know that he did the soundtrack.
We were going
to
down to the "We're Coming Down" crown. That's Peter Gabriel.
Wow, I missed that.
You must not be a very big fan, apparently. It's a great song. It's really a good song. I'll play it to you when we get done.
Check that out.
It's a great song.
Wall-E,
the whole end of Wall-E. I reference Wall-E. That must be like the least successful Pixar because I've referenced, in Wall-E or like who?
I remember Wall-E, but I didn't see it.
It's a very profound movie in a lot of ways, and something I think that we're kind of running into environmental and some other stuff in the world. Huh. My go-to is "Let's Get It On" Marvin Gaye.
Okay, well that's a great one.
I'll bring the crowd. I'm not talking. We are at a church. I don't want to say the word worship. It's as close to that as you're going to get.
Okay.
It's as close.
Wow. Well, I do want to hear that.
You probably will. I might sing it for Acapulco and just have at it. It's my wife sings KT Tunstall.
Okay.
Black Horse and a Cherry Tree.
I don't know.
We got a chance to see her. She's from Ireland, I believe.
Oh, is she?
And so
okay.
we got a chance to see her at the Clyde Theater with, I can't remember the other lady's name. It was a really good little show.
Nice.
It wasn't a ton of people, but it was great. They played a bunch of different instruments, told stories. I love that.
Cool.
Like kind of the troubadour kind of feel. I love those kind of concerts.
Yeah. I definitely like, a folk type of guitarist, singing, just singer-songwriter. I really enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
We got a chance to see Edwin McCain. I talk about him on the show almost every show.
Okay.
And Hootie the Blowfish. Oh, Candlebox or something like that. It was a pretty good show down at Deer Creek. I don't know what Deer Creek is called now.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always going to be
Miles,
Deer Creek.
what is the place where we saw Santana?
Is it Clips or Verizon?
It's gone through all those. Now it's
Deer Creek.
Oh, gosh, what is the name? Do you remember? We were just talking about this the other day.
I think we're always going to call it Deer Creek. When we saw the Doobie Brothers.
You probably will.
Yeah.
Did we see the Doobie Brothers?
We saw them down there a while back. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
And they even said back when we used to tour years ago, this place used to be called Deer Creek, and everybody said it's still called Deer Creek.
It'll come to me, but I can't think of. Wait. No, it's not coming.
It's all right. Part of the things that you and I had talked about originally was part of it was dreams.
Yeah.
Part of it was the whole idea of AI, because we worked on a Bussy talk here.
Yes.
With Antoinette Francher Donald and was it Susan Kirby? Is that who that was?
Not sure, Susan. Was there? It was
and somebody else.
Let me see.
Cliff.
It was Dr.
It was everybody.
Abigail.
Oh, Dutcher.
Dutcher.
Yeah.
Dr. Abigail Dutcher.
So we had a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
And
some guests from
came
outside.
In,
yeah.
And you were one of the ones that you were the last minute fill-in, and you did an excellent job.
Well, thank you.
I wanted to talk with you about dreams because I brought in the definitive book.
How interesting.
For my this is what I bought my wife.
Oh.
So I could figure out what's wrong with her.
What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
Really?
She said, I had a dream about playing pool. Oh, that's ooch. Then you know that you got to start. I'm going to sleep in the other room, in another house,
okay,
in another city.
Well, wow,
across the ocean.
Huh.
And we would talk about stuff, and some of the stuff would always come up would be like I think she said the other time, she goes, I had a dream about a goat, and it was blah blah blah. And I said, who has a dream about a goat? Because I'm always of the impression that if you have a dream about a goat, it's just something you saw earlier, regurgitating in your brain, and somehow or another. I think we were at the zoo that day.
Okay.
So here's what I found out about goats. To dream of goats wandering on a farm signifies seasonable weather. Okay. And fine yield of crops. Okay. To see them otherwise speaks of cautious dealings, Teresa, and a steady increase of wealth. If billy goat butts you, be wary lest enemies get possession of your secrets or business plans.
Wow.
So it's kind of a trickery. Now, oddly enough,
okay,
I want you to digest that for a minute, and you come back with your dissertation later on. See, some years ago, I was with a friend of mine. I used to live in Mishawaka, and there was a hole by this railroad track. And we were sitting there, and we started throwing rocks into it, and we were throwing stuff in there. We never heard anything land.
Oh. And
we were just throwing and throwing.
Yeah.
I said, well, let's see what else we got. We threw bigger boulders. There was a sink. I don't know. We threw that in there. No noise. And so about a half an hour of throwing stuff down in there, I saw there was a railroad tie. And I said, well, this is the biggest thing we got. So we threw the railroad tie down in there. And like 5 seconds later, this goat comes and stumbling by and then jumps into the hole. Never to be seen from again. We're kind of just sitting there kind of in shock.
Wait, is this a dream?
No. Oh. No. That's my wife's dream. I don't dream about goats. What am I, a weirdo?
Okay.
Am I some sort of weirdo?
I mean, I don't know. It was your friend.
It was just my buddy and I.
Okay.
We were probably 14. So this goat comes flying by, jumps into the hole, and we never see it. Then about 2 minutes later, this older guy comes out and he goes, hey, you guys happen to see my goat anywhere? And I said, as a matter of fact, I have, because he just ran over to the hole and jumped in. And he goes, well, that can't be. I had him tied up to a railroad tie. See, it's a joke, is what I'm trying to tell you.
It's a joke. It's not a dream. It's a joke. I knew it wasn't a dream.
You got to tell it first person, otherwise it doesn't work.
Wasn't sure if it was real, though.
I don't know whose joke that is. It's not mine.
Okay.
That's a beautiful joke, though, isn't it?
And that's a good one.
I don't know where I got it from either.
Yeah, it's well, that's the thing about dreams, is that they certainly can be confused with other kinds of narratives, right?
How so?
Well, if you have a very imaginative story, oftentimes it comes across kind of like a dream. There's those, like when you think of magical realism, for example, a lot of the imagery is completely uncanny in the waking world. It's more akin to a dream. And what is being found about AI now, as far as dream work is concerned, is that while AI will tell you directly, I do not dream, I don't have consciousness, I don't have conscious processes, I can tell a narrative that is similar to a dream. And actually, Dr. Deidre Barrett at Harvard is using AI to generate dreams.
How so? What does
Variety
she
of
do?
different narratives. So she prompts the AI, and I believe she's using a prototype version of, or she was using a prototype version of Chat GPT, like Chat 3 or something, and she prompted it to create dreamlike narratives. And recently she was on a podcast called The Dreamboat, and she was talking about how those are pretty indistinguishable from actual human dreams. Like if I tell you 3 dreams, you probably wouldn't be able to tell which one is the AI dream.
I always have these ones that are real disjointed. I'm driving a bus, and then suddenly I have to build a go-kart with my ex-landlord. And you go,
Yeah.
what could this, what is, boy, I'm glad I had that dream. Otherwise, I would have, I would have not been able to go forth in life or have what, I don't know what are dreams? Let's start from there. What are dreams?
So dreams are basically cognition that takes place in a sleeping state. So it can be anything from any kind of visual imagery is what most people think of it as, but it can also be any variety of different sensory impressions. It can be within what's called rapid eye movement or REM sleep. That's usually the state that is most associated with dreams. But it has been found by research that people also dream in non-REM sleep and in a variety of different stages.
Talking about daydreaming, though. That's not.
Well, daydreaming can also be considered a dream state. In fact, the different brain waves that one has, one of them that is associated with dreaming is the theta brainwave state, which is a relaxed but aware state of mind. It has been found through research that humans do a variety of activities.
Really?
Driving
Driving
is a great example.
I could totally see that. I've had many times where I drive to work and I don't recall actually doing anything
the
driving.
Whole path,
I don't
right?
because I've done it so often.
Yeah.
Is that part of just that unconscious kind of part coming out, or am I?
It can be.
Am I a danger to everyone?
Well, we're all kind of a danger. That's why driving. That's why we have licenses and all that for driving. But so that is a place where dreaming takes place. Dreaming can also be provoked by sonic driving, which is a very simple idea. When you have a steady beat of, let's say, 200 to 220 beats per minute with, say, a drum or a shaker or any kind of material like that, you can entrain the brain to make theta brainwaves, where you can essentially, yes.
How fast is 220 beats? Is it like That's like Enter Sandman Metallica kind of drum beats.
It's pretty fast, yeah. And so, well, when you think about, I don't know if there's any ravers out there in the audience, but if you go to a rave, sometimes, there's the higher BPM music that's being played, and it's often said that people get into a trance in that.
I could totally see that.
And of course, dancing and all that. So that also is a place, a time, a situation where you might be dreaming. You might have imagery that pops into your mind. You might, have some really interesting impressions if you're tuned into that.
That's interesting. The last rave I went to, quite honestly, I'm still waiting for the drop. It's still come on. I can't wait here forever. I just can't.
I'm so old that I never got to go to a rave
I haven't either. I'm
myself.
just
I
saying
used
that.
to pick up my brother-in-law from the rave, like, in the morning, like we'd go by and pick him up.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like a good nap. I'm going to go home, go to bed. I used to work at the rave motion pictures here.
Oh, yeah,
before it was the AMC.
Okay.
And we used to get these kids come in, look like party kids and bar kids and dance kids. And we're like, where's the rave at? I'm like, come, get out. This was right before it was right when Harry Potter first one came out. That's how long ago this was. And they used to come in and ask, where's the rave at? No. They all had the pacifier.
What?
I don't know. It was a thing that they always had like neon green, like stockings and a whole ton of makeup, and then they all had pacifiers and
they had pacifiers,
which I thought was great because if you ever got somebody dancing around with a bunch of elbows and you get clocked in the jaw.
Okay.
I doubt that's why they were. I think it was something else. I don't know. I'm not cool enough to be.
I'm a little stuck on that. I'm going, okay, they have pacifiers.
Don't concentrate
Where
too
have
heavy
we
on
gone wrong?
It didn't start there.
Okay.
But
no.
that's somewhere along the middle of that path. That's where the fork in the road is. This happened just right off the beginning of the entrance there. Where'd you go this summer? You went somewhere. Where'd you go?
Yeah, I went to the Netherlands, and I went to the International Association for the Study of Dreams conference. It was in the southeastern corner of the Netherlands, down near Germany to the west and Belgium to the east, in a little town called Kerkrade.
I'm sorry?
Kerkrade.
How you spell that real quick?
It's K-E-R.
Whatever. You can say whatever.
K-R-A-D-E. That Dutch language is a doozy.
Is there a W in there?
No W.
Uh-huh. What is it one more time? Kerkrade?
Kerkrade.
That sounds like a dish you'd eat with seafood.
Kind of, right?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
You showed me a video. Hopefully we're going to be able to get that video. We'll be able to put the video in of what it looks like in Netherlands on a nice, balmy summer's day. See if we could throw that in here real quic.
Sure.
That's
for
brutal.
Sure. Yes.
Well, what was the temp there? What'd you say? It was like 48?
It was no higher than the mid 60s the whole time I was there. I was there in June, early June. The weather was really bad. It was raining, not the whole time, but at least, let's say, a third of the time it was raining. It reminded me a lot of being in the Midwest because it's very gray and chilly and windy. But yeah, it was, the Netherlands is very beautiful, very different. It's flat, like Indiana. At least northern Indiana. But there's canals everywhere, which I'm sure folks have seen pictures of, of Amsterdam and all that, and the countryside with the windmills and so forth. But it is a very beautiful country, but it's a very beautiful country because I think the Dutch have wanted to beautify and engineer their country to work for them, even though a lot of it is below sea level.
Well, the heck with that. Are these a miserable people, or are they accepted their fate of living in Game of Thrones territory all the time?
No, I found them to be, if not cheerful, the people that I interacted with, I would say that they were not particularly friendly, but very, very pragmatic and problem-solving.
Oh, that's me.
Type of people.
I don't care. What was this? You went to the International Dreams of People That Dream Things Dream Clinic. What did you want to go there for? You said, "Hey, I've got nothing better to do. Let me go flip through a." You go,
Yeah,
it's a dream
that's
thing.
why.
What did you land on that one for?
Wow. Well, I have to, give you some history. So I've been into dreams really since I was a young teenager. I started journaling my dreams at age 12 or so.
That's extremely early.
Yes, extremely early. But it was something that's always been an interest. I mean, the first dream that I remember was at 6 years old, and I've had lots of dramatic dreams really since then. But I've been journaling my dreams off and on since I was 13. And when I was in high school, I worked at the University of Chicago Sleep Lab for a month. And their research was on what the purpose of sleep was.
Yeah.
And they did experiments on rats. They were kind of brutal. They were trying to starve the rats of sleep until they were at the verge of death, which took approximately 11 days or so. And then when the rats were on the verge of death because they had been starved of sleep with this torture device, I'll never forget it. It was a turntable. And the rat had a cannula, kind of like I have this little knot up here, had a little cannula on top of its head with probes into the brain. And whenever it would go into a sleeping state, a non-REM or a REM state, the turntable would turn, and underneath the turntable there was a basin of water. So the rat had no choice but to wake up, either from the turning or from falling into the water off of the turntable. So anyway, after this happened, the rats were euthanized, I guess you could say.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Yes. And then
doing them a favor is what they're doing. Jeez.
And then they looked at the internal organs, the brain, all of the internal organs, to see what was different, say, from the control rats that they did the same process with. I was really disgusted by all of this.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I really was disgusted. And at that point, I took a left. I thought, well, maybe I will be a dream and sleep scientist and go into the science end of things.
But on the good side of it, not the evil scientist part. Apparently. What did they ever find out about that? If they're going to throw these poor rats that are probably saying, yeah, I know I caused a bunch of deaths over in Europe and about every century back in since the Renaissance or whatever, but do we really deserve this kind of treatment? What did they ever find out?
Well, what they found out in that experiment, which was headed off by Dr. Alan Rechtschaffen, they found that the metabolism was greatly affected by the lack of sleep. And, subsequently they have found many more uses of sleep for basically every system in the body. But one of the things they found more recently, is that dreams specifically are doing something that our brains don't usually get a chance to do, and that is to create weak associations in the mind. We're all day long trying to create strong associations. We're trying to see the things that relate to one another in a very direct way. As professors, we're trying to deliver the information in a way that's very digestible and logical that our students can understand, right? Mm-hmm. In dreams, what's happening is that we're having those weak associations. Like, for example, the kinds of associations we might have looking at a Rorschach test, or the kinds of associations we might have with word association that we might do. Like I might say cat, and you'll say
optometrist.
Optometrist. Okay.
Because of the glasses that you have. They're like cat's eye glasses. Therefore, an optometrist would have given you those.
Gotcha.
Is that the correct answer?
That is a
dog?
perfect.
Is it shovel? What am I looking at?
No, it's the perfect example of a weak association.
Very.
Right? And it's the thing about dreams, because you've been reading from, the goat entry,
the Bible,
from your dream interpretation dictionary. The thing about dreams is that you're making weak associations that are very personal to you, right? Because my associations with goats are going to be, different from yours, because I've had different experiences of goats. Like for me, what I think of in goats is, going through the countryside in Trelawney and in Jamaica and seeing the goats just hanging out. Like the goats had their spot and we would go by, going down to the beach, going up to the house, and the goats would just be hanging out on this little triangle of land.
Goats are good people. You never hear a news story about a goat killing a person. Have you ever heard of that? Hey, on the news today,
I can't say that.
Goats, robbed a bank. No, you never hear that.
Yeah, I can't say that.
You're like, hey, you got a goat? And yeah, we did yoga with him the other day.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the whole goat yoga thing. I'm not interested in that, but I like yoga, but not with goats, please.
I don't want my cat will do that. Jump on my back and whatever.
You gotta
go. I don't get that.
Yeah.
So you need to skim me along.
Well, see, we have different associations for pretty much every object.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people have recurring dreams that have some kind of a symbol or image that comes back over and over again.
What kind of recurring dreams do you have? What do you got?
Well, throughout my life, the most common dream that I've had is with elevators. I dream about elevators all the time, and I've dreamt about elevators pretty much all my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm just gonna say something that you're not gonna like, which is that I do not use.
I use this religiously.
Dictionaries.
This is 100% Teresa.
And I'll tell you why. So this might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
It might be a good place to start, but any book that claims to tell you what your dream means
without consulting you, which kind of seems a little bit arrogant.
Yes.
I suppose.
But
it's
also,
like a horoscope in a lot of ways.
Possibly, but it's just that thing of the weak associations, because when you read that, and I am interested in hearing what it says, but the times I've been stuck in an elevator, the times that that an elevator has, like, the alarm has gone off, the time that I got stuck in an elevator in a cruise ship, that book doesn't have any of that information. Right. And I have certain associations with those elevators that this book can't capture. So in dream work, when we're trying to understand a dream, what we're really trying to do is bring out the associations, those weak associations that the individual who is sharing that dream actually has. And so it's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. You're trying to ask questions that will bring out those associations so that we can then, interpret the dream, or at least project our ideas to the dreamer so that they can decide, oh yeah, it's that's what it means.
Yeah, I could see that. In this case, it says on elevator, it says, take the stairs. Maybe that's the answer to dream of ascending in an elevator means you will swiftly rise to a position of wealth. You got a good position, you got a lot of money. What kind of money we're looking at? Are these always going up or down in these dreams?
Well, so that's
neither.
See, you're already asking questions, which is a good thing.
That's what this book does. It should be how to get to know someone just based upon weird things they're telling you about dreams.
So in my dreams, the elevators almost always do weird things. Like
a Wonkavator?
Exactly. So I have had dreams where, like, the elevator has, like, broken through the roof. I've had many dreams where the elevators go like sideways and all around.
This is all
I've
Willy
had
Wonka,
dreams
Teresa.
where like a whole room
This is a movie.
is moving around. Yes.
We've seen this movie. It's been remade. Why is that though? Why
do
what's
those...
your gig with that? Yeah. Did you have some sort of weird... Is Otis your ancestors or something?
No, I think that with the elevator dream, and I do think of it in a very spiritual way, actually.
Is that right?
Yeah, I see the elevator as a symbol for progress in a way.
Okay.
And evolution. Rising, usually elevators rise and, they go up and down. But I think of it as kind of a temperature check on kind of where I see where my unconscious sees my spiritual progress or my it can also be in terms of career or relationship or other things, but usually it gives me kind of a temperature. Like if the elevator is exploding, then surely there's some things that need to be attended
examined.
to. Yeah.
To descend. Mm-hmm. Oh, I should probably even read this too. Your misfortunes will crush and discourage you. Unless, I believe...
Are you reading that, or are you making that up?
Right here. Unless, I think there's a caveat. I'm going to probably put a little asterisk here. Is that if you time it just right before it hits and you jump. So I think that's how you get away with that. Okay,
and I have had a dream where the elevator, was like in a free fall, and... it didn't, I never heard it hit the ground.
That's good.
Never heard it hit the ground, but it was a very unpleasant dream.
Yeah, I'm not jumping off an airplane either. If you see one descending without you, you will narrowly escape disappointment in some undertaking.
Interesting. Wow.
Like you just, you missed them. A standing elevator foretells threatened danger.
Oh.
How do you feel about yourself now?
I mean,
That's
I
a
definitely
good one.
I like.
Huh? That's a good one. That's a good.
I mean, it's not bad. The entry's not bad. The thing is, really, I want to encourage anyone listening to, if you're gonna make a dream, if you're going to have a dream dictionary, make your own. Track your own imagery.
Yeah.
In your dreams and see what the associations are. And this is actually an area where AI can really help you, because if you track your dreams, and there's also some really cool dream apps that you can use these days.
Such as, any off the top of your head?
There's one called Temenos that I've been experimenting with a little bit. And there's another one called Elsewhere, which I've experimented with a little bit. And Elsewhere hasn't worked as well for me as Temenos. There's other ones as well. If you just look up Dream App in the App Store, then you can, usually they give you like a free trial, but they want you to sign up, pretty quickly after that. But it's a good way to kind of track some of those images that come up. And one of the things that for me, and having written all these dreams out, I usually use a journal, and then I might type them. Like for my study that I did, I selected 50 of the dreams that I felt had the strongest imagery of all the dreams that I had had in those 2 years. And I typed them out. I put them into text analysis AI, so Chat GPT, Vertex AI, Claude, and some other ones that I asked them to give me what's called a projective dream work interpretation. So projective dream work is the kind of dream work that I do. There are different proponents of it over time. Montague Ullman was really the person who initiated that strategy. Stanley Krippner, Reverend Jeremy Taylor is very famous for doing really strong dream work from the 70s onward. And then my teacher, Robert Moss, all use the same structure. So basically, when we get together to talk about dreams, we ask the dreamer to say what their dream is in the present tense, so that they can kind of get back into the dream space in their minds. We ask them to give the dream a title so that it's kind of easier to reference. We ask the dreamer a number of different questions. How did you feel when you woke from the dream? What associations do you have with the dream imagery content? Do you think that this dream could happen either literally or figuratively in the future?
Is it predictive kind of a thing, or if that's part of the thing? That'd be kind of...
Well, this is the thing, and nobody really wants to talk about it
I want
outside
to talk about
of
it.
dream
We're talking about it right
circles.
now.
We're talking about it right now. But there is not just statistically significant data, but there's very statistically significant data that dreams have some predictive qualities to them. And a good example of that is that there were thousands of people that had precognitive dreams about 9/11.
Is that right? I never heard that.
Up to years before it happened. Years to days before it happened. In very vivid detail.
Really? I'd never heard that before.
Yes. There's a study out there that you can look up, but it's pretty amazing. And we asked that question precisely for that reason, that our dreams can show us a possible future. And when I say a possible future, it may not be a likely future, but it can head us off at the pass if there's something really awful that could be happening. I myself have dreamt a couple of times about a new job prospect up to 6 months before.
Is that because you hated the place that you're working at currently? I got to get out of here.
No.
This is miserable.
No, it's just one of those things where, and usually it's somebody that's kind of job adjacent who comes up to me and says, "Hey, Teresa, I have the perfect job for you. Come with me," and tells you what's going to come up.
Do you think, though, if somebody came up to you today, Teresa with no H, and said, "Boy, I had this really crazy dream," what are the chances of you listening to them if they were very unattractive versus a very attractive individual? Because in other words, what I'm saying is that you'd probably listen to the person that was fairly attractive, that was normal-ish. If they came up to you and said, "I had this really crazy dream about that," you're like, "Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy handsome is what you are." That's what I would say. Or would you just say, "Nah, that's a little too weird. That hat is strange," or something kind of hinky? Don't you think that would play into that? And the other person who's a little crazier looking probably had actually the dream that could save your life? What I'm trying to say is, don't judge people by the cover. That's the moral of dreams. If you start getting these dreams from people, I hear a lot of that stuff. My daughter likes to tell in vivid detail the 8 hours that she was asleep. Actually, it's probably more like 12. And let me tell you about this dream last night. I'm going to start from chapter 1. Oh my God. And she just wants to talk about it. And then I'm like, you need to move on. You need to get on with it. You're in the real world, the conscious world today. She had these dreams when you were a kid. You started writing those things down. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That look back at 12 years old, you must be really blown away by the stuff you wrote.
I mean, it was pretty kind of normal fare for that.
Oh, was?
For that,
I thought you were going to say disturbing.
For that time of not disturbing. I mean, very much like rooted in the concerns of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
What would that be? That's been a while for me. I don't know.
Well,
I was in baseball.
different situations with friends, like hanging out with friends, certain friends being in the dream, the cute boy who you like and things like that. But dreams definitely have imagery that is recurring throughout life, throughout time, but also very much, as I think we all know, what's called day residue, which is just, whatever we happen to be doing in the day or days, before that. Maybe it could be something that stood out especially, or it could be something that we didn't even really track,
Yeah.
But yeah, the day residue is there. So when we are talking about other people's dreams, one of the things that we do is we say, if it were my dream, in projective dream work. The reason for that is to put ourselves in the first person in talking about the dream as if it were our dream. And that just kind of signals, these are my impressions, these are my takes on your material. I'm doing this as if I were in your dream, and giving you my insights, which you then, as the dreamer, can take or leave.
Yeah.
I may be completely barking up the wrong tree, or I might give you some kind of an insight that is, that hits the nail on the head.
That's really cool. I'm always in my underpants. So help me God. And hey everybody, I have several underpants. That's one of them. And I don't really seem to care all that much. Mm-hmm. That's maybe the bigger takeaway.
Okay.
Like, okay, well, this is what we got. And I'm not getting away from that.
Okay.
That's number one. I can't remember my locker combination in high school, which, by the way, I forgot all the time. Because I used to do that one where you just put it one number away so you just click it, because I was very, very busy man back then. That one, I used to have dreams of flying years ago.
Oh, cool.
Do you dream in color?
Yeah.
You dream?
Mm-hmm. When I dream in black and white, it's noticeable.
Like Raging Bull, kind of noticeable. Like Citizen Kane, noticeable. It's a Wonderful Life.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's intentional. Like my default is color. But when it's black and white, there's kind of a need for it. And I also dream in, and I think a lot of people would say this, there are certain dreams that are like hyper real. And usually
freak you out, kind of hyper real. That's what I get.
Freak out, but also just numinous and very special, very mystical kind of dreams where it looks like everything is made of light. Like the people, the place are all made of light, like they're luminous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot better, more positive dreams than I do.
Well, the flying dream sounds
no,
pretty
but it's
darn
like
cool.
I could fly at one time, but I can't anymore. And I'm not talking about going coach. I'm not saying, whee, and I'm flying around, and all of a sudden, no, you can't do that anymore. Why not? I don't know.
Okay.
There's some stipulation around you've overcome your amount of allotment or whatever like that.
Well, you're talking about dreams, I think, that many people have. Being in a state of not completely being dressed is something that happens a lot.
I'm okay with that.
To people.
Very much
And
so.
you were okay with it in your dreams. So
if I could go to work in my underpants today, if I could do this podcast and nobody objected, I think John would say, yeah, he would. That'd be okay. I think I have another one where John and I went to this comedy open mic night a while back. And it was really, it was a lot of fun to watch. It really was. And I have a dream often that I get up on stage and it's like, all right, come on up, Eric. And I can't remember my routine. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And usually I have something to say.
Yeah.
However stupid or meaningless it might be. But I have something, and which has literally never happened to me. You can throw me on a stage, give me a mic, I'll do what I can. It's like what John Lennon said, I'm a musician, give me a tuba, get you something out of it.
Okay.
Pretty sure he said that. I don't know who.
Did he say that? Wow.
I think that's a very common quote. But that was always kind of thing. I'm like, give me a microphone, get you something out of it.
Okay.
I'll work the audience. I'll do something with it.
Yeah.
But I always freeze up, and it just freaks me out.
Yeah. Yeah. So your reaction to it is pretty strong.
It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause it's something I've actually worked past. I did a lot when I was younger, when I was in sales, and I could get up, and I found that I could give me the mic. If no one else give me,
Yeah.
I'll go up and I'll give you 10 quick minutes just to talk to the audience.
Yeah.
But I could do that when any other place. But I found out I was good on my feet. As I've gotten older,
Right.
I've slowed down.
Yeah.
more with
well,
that.
That's normal.
So you went to Netherlands, and I hope that you didn't stay there very long.
Well, I
'Cause you
was
shouldn't,
there
it
for
sounds
10 days.
That's enough time for anybody in the
It
Netherlands.
was.
What was
it
the
good.
conference? What was the conference like?
The conference was really amazing. There were about 350 people from, I think, 38 different countries.
Wow.
Pretty much every continent was represented. And we talked about all different aspects of dreams. We talked about, there was a research track, there was an art and humanities track, there was a music was a part of the, I guess, art and humanities. There was a spiritual track, a philosophical track, all kinds of different aspects of dreams were looked at. There were some pretty interesting keynote speeches. One was about how animals dream, non-human dreams.
My dog barks, runs and barks.
Yeah.
What are you barking at? I don't get that. I just want to sit. Just tell me.
Yeah.
Get up and tell me what it is that you're doing.
Yes,
you have such an
please, dog,
active
tell
life.
me
You
what
sleep
you're
all
doing.
day long. What are you barking at?
But
that's a
that's-
subject of research is animal dreams.
Absolutely. And, and it's interesting because in the whole continuum, you've got animal dreams here, reptile, bird, mammal dreams,
Yeah.
onto human dreams, onto, on the other end, AI dreams, question mark?
We're going to go into that in a minute, mister. We're going to go into that in just a minute. I want to talk to you about that. What do they do when they stick these people in one of those weird MRI coffins that they go in and all claustrophobia you could ever imagine and want, and noises? And
Yeah.
They stick you in there, and that's how they tell you're dreaming, or how do they know that birds
that you're
and
actually-
iguanas are
that they're dreaming?
Yeah. How do you know?
Yeah, they do experimentation on them, kind of like I was talking about with the rat,
no.
where they
Not with the rats.
where they have probes. I don't believe they have to open up the skull of the animal anymore, but they
good.
basically do an EEG,
Okay.
an
So they see
electroencephalograph.
They can tell the alpha, the beta, the theta.
They can
Is
tell
it
all the
gamma?
different-
Is gamma waves in there or something? Is that which one's the sleeping?
Well,
big-time sleeping waves.
is let's see, alpha, gamma,
Is it delta? Is it the delta waves? Is
delta. There's different waves that are sleeping like non-REM. But they can tell which ones are which, and when you're going, say, from non-REM to REM to deep sleep to spindle, all the different kinds of
spindle?
Spindle.
What's that mean?
Well, the spindle shows that you're in a very deep state of sleep, and as we age, those become less and less. That's
Is
the
that
most
right?
restorative phase of sleep.
Oh.
And, for example, young children have a lot of that restorative sleep. And as we age, let's say, as we get into middle age, we have less and less. And as we, go into kind of our elderhood, we have less sleep overall. I mean, that
totally makes sense, though. As you get older, things aren't. You're not coming back from that hard night of partying you used to do when I was 13, and that makes total sense now.
You were 13.
I had a very, very active early teenage years.
Oh my.
That makes a lot of sense then when you get a little older. That I know two things. I think that that's the case. And then you have the heat in your house about 78 degrees. That's my dad's house.
Okay. Yeah, well, Miles knows a little bit about that.
It takes me 2
at
weeks to
my house.
rehydrate. I don't care what you do. It just sucks the life out of you.
Yeah.
What did you get from this
from this
conference? What did you pull away from it?
So much. I mean, one of the things that I really learned was that AI is kind of the topic of the moment in dreaming. There's a lot of interest to see how AI can help dreamers to better understand their dreams, not just one by one, but on a meta level, to where they can begin to see kind of long-term patterns in their dreams more easily.
So what would you do? Would you take your dream, you write it down into
or type it into a computer,
and whatever length, and then you'd say, "Hey, ChatGPT, interpret this."
Pretty much. I mean, that's
as simple as it gets?
was what my research was. I just said, here's my dream, interpret it using projective dream work, or work with it, using projective dream work. And it did a variety of different things. It gave me actual prompts, like the questions that I was talking about with the process. It would give me those questions. So you dreamed of black cotton candy. So what does the color black represent to you? What about cotton candy? Did you what were the emotions? And it would go through all these various questions, but it would also talk about how I might use that imagery in my waking life. And that's one of the keys of projective dream work, is how are we going to take that rich content that's coming up from the unconscious and put it into daily life. Like for me, the way that I do that mainly is through creative endeavors, through art, through poetry. I mean, those are the main influences of my dreams, but also to help other people discover the richness in their own dreams, and for a variety of applications, whether it be creativity, which of course is kind of my wheelhouse, working with art and art education, pre-art therapy.
And that's what you're doing here at the University of St. Francis.
Yes. Yeah, I'm the director of those programs here.
Does that be really interesting to take something that something that's really freaking you out in your dreams? I'm not talking about, I had this really terrible dream about walking through a bunch of, daisies and stuff. Okay, there's a kangaroo there. Okay, I'm get to the bad part. But if you had something that was like night terrors or things of this nature, where it's a constant worry that no matter when you go, kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
It's no different than that.
Okay.
Which I think it's a true story. Freddy Krueger and Dream Warriors and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
From what I understand. It was 1983 when I saw it, so I don't.
I never saw it.
It's 84, 83. It's not a good movie. Don't watch it.
Okay.
It has a bunch of elevator scenes in it, oddly enough.
Does it really?
It really
Maybe
does.
it's worth going back
It's
just
not.
for that.
Don't do it. You'll never get out of that. But if you can have something that says, have you ever thought maybe you got something going on with this or that, if something could come up with that, because it might be, if you're talking to a therapist, if my daughter's telling your 8-hour dream, that's going to be a little hard to sift through. But if you have something that has a quicker element to it and says, well, here's the last 30 dreams you've given me is you got something against kangaroos or whatever that is, and say, what is that? And it might give you that opportunity to say, you know what, I do have a thing again, and be able to maybe either grow away from that.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that's another kind of, I think, cutting edge with dream work, working, for example, with individuals who have PTSD, because one of the things that happens with PTSD and a trauma response is that the dream process gets like stuck. It gets stuck on,
can't grow.
on.
Yeah.
Just like many of the other systems with trauma, there's a hypervigilance, there's,
Okay.
higher, blood pressure, higher, heart rate and all those kinds of things.
So you can't seem to get that out of your psyche or pushing into long-term memory, so it's not just so fresh and you're ruminating upon it.
You're ruminating on it, and you're stuck to where you're not able to move on, and so that's like a major. It's a major component that just makes trauma, even worse. But I mean, in my training, I have worked with dreams that are nightmares for people, in shifting them out of that, and the process of doing that is an actual process of re-entering the dream space.
So you got to go in and face it some more and try to get it out and dig it out of there.
Pretty much, going back into the dream, a specific point in the dream, maybe that represents other dreams like it, and actually shifting the action to where the narrative of the dream, takes shape. And this is done like in an organic way on the spot. So we make that transition in real time.
Yeah.
So that's one way of working with nightmares. Another way of working with nightmares is a really dynamic and really exciting technique called Dream Theater. And
Isn't that a band?
There is a band called Dream Theater.
Aren't they based on like Netherlands or?
They might be.
Was that Euro synth pop?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Dream? Was it Dream Theater?
Dream Theater, yeah. I don't like them very much. They're kind of like prog.
Life in a Northern Town, isn't that? Wasn't that Dream Theater?
Is that Dream Theater?
John,
okay.
Is that Dream Theater with night? Do you have some technology that you could look? If only there was a mobile, ethereal technology that pulls from the ether. Dream Theater, go ahead.
But Dream Theater, yeah. So Dream Theater is actually, to say this is kind of crazy, but this is actually something that the ancient Greeks saw as a method of healing. So there are these temples in Greece, all over Greece, and really all over the Mediterranean, temples of Asclepius. And Asclepius was the god of medicine.
Is that right?
The caduceus that you see, that is the symbol of healing and health. Obviously, we associate it with all of the different healthcare work, but it actually is from Asclepius. And so at the temples of Asclepius, what they would do is they would bring people who had all kinds of different ailments, psychological, physical, and they would have to have a dream of invitation first to say, okay, you can go and you can sleep in the temple, and we are going to work on a solution to your problem.
Yeah.
So their dreams would help them, of course, with practitioners, identify what was wrong with them. But part of that is that the dreams that people would have in the Asclepion, they would then take to the theater. The first theaters in ancient Greece were created to share these dream theater dramas. That's where theater, came from.
Is that right?
Yes.
And that's where Frankenstein, the book from Shelley, was a dream.
Was a dream.
James Cameron's Terminator. And I think Fleetwood Mac, do you have any dreams you'd like to sell? Their song, Thunder Only Happens When It's Raining. Dreams.
Oh, Dreams. Yeah, yeah.
I Got Dreams to Remember, Otis Redding.
Yesterday was
a dream.
But
that was
Paul McCartney.
Better known as, what was the actual words that he did? Everybody knows this trivia.
What?
Wasn't Yesterday he originally wrote it as.
Oh, right. It was actually a tune at first, and then the lyrics
Scrambled
came
eggs.
later. Was it scrambled
That's
eggs?
what he said, yeah. I just learned something
Makes
the other day
sense.
about Let It Be, that Paul McCartney wrote.
Oh, yeah.
That he says, Mother Mary comforts me, and you always think it's Mary, mother of God, but it was actually his own mother.
Yeah.
His own mother's name was Mary.
That's pretty cool.
I just heard that the other day. I've heard that song. I played that song. I love that song.
Yes, I
I'm
do
like,
too.
Oh, it was his own
my
mom.
first favorite song.
Oh. I go, well, I don't know if that kind of changes it up a little bit.
It sure does.
In a lot of
yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
You work on pre-therapy. Would you find out, John?
Therapy?
It's a band. I mean, I don't have much context to.
You got a song?
No.
John's terrible.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I know that there's a band called Dream Theater, but
is.
yeah, I don't really know anything.
Did they have a
about
song
it.
called Life in a Northern Town?
Let's see. Life in a Northern.
Doesn't that sound like that's right, or is that something else?
I know I've heard that song. I don't happen to know.
That was
though.
way back. That's a 90s,
Okay.
early 90s. Like, no?
Dream Academy
Oh, wait a minute. Dream Academy.
Okay.
has Life in a Northern.
I'm not
All
too.
right.
I was.
Well, you were really close.
Yeah, you know, Win Jeopardy with
I've
the
been to a
closeness.
Dream Academy,
You
too,
just. I
so
remember
that's
that.
okay.
Dream Academy. I didn't think it sounded right. I know it. Thanks a lot, John, for ruining my gig. You do pre-therapy here. What you
Pre-art therapy.
Therapy here. What is that?
What is
We
that?
talked about that last time you and I talked, and I was curious
Yeah.
as to what that is.
So pre-art therapy or art therapy, which is where hopefully the students are headed, it's a master's level degree that we do like the bachelor's preparation for that graduate degree, but people who work with art therapy use the techniques, the methods of art making to help clients work on different matters of their emotional, behavioral, or psychological life. And it can be used in a variety of different settings. It can be used in hospital settings, school settings, group settings of all kinds, in many different therapeutic environments.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to know more about that. As if you offer that kind of, are you teaching that kind of class here? Coming up in the
Actually,
fall?
Jay Bastion teaches our
Is that right?
our art therapy class, yes. And so our pre-art therapy students have their basic formation in visual art, of course, and then they go through the methods courses, which are usually alongside our art education students. So they learn
Okay.
the same methodologies that the art ed students learn. And then they can decide on going the social work route,
Okay.
the psychology route, or the criminal justice route. So they take
I guess,
kind of like
different
a
opportunities
minor
there.
almost,
That's
you
all
could
right.
say, in one of those areas.
Yeah.
And then they kind of put it all together. Many go on to other master's degrees. It might be in psychology, it might be in counseling, social work, any of those areas, or some do go to an all-out art therapy program, and we have agreements with different schools in our network.
Let's hope they don't go on to rat torturing.
Yeah, I hope not
let's
for
keep
anybody,
those,
but I do understand.
I get
and-
where we got to come from,
I mean,
but come on.
there's value to it, to that scientific animal research. It's just not for everybody. Certainly not for me.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Let's take us out. You and I were talking at the very beginning about some weirdo dream about you being in the Andes.
Yeah.
And I want to show. We're going to take that picture.
Okay.
And we're gonna superimpose it. We're going to superimpose it over over your. Tell us your
I
progression here, and then using
can
AI.
send
But what
all
this
that.
what this dream was.
So the dream was that I'm in the high Andes mountains with a group of people, and out of the group of people, I see my friend, and we're reconnecting, and I say, to him, let's walk on stilts, and we get up on these stilts, and we're walking around in this in the high Andes Mountains on stilts.
Okay.
And I'm looking for the actual pictures here, but the what I did was I actually did do a sketch of it that I found later, but I simply put a text to image prompt into a variety of different AI. And let me see. I just need to find, I think it's called Walking on. Here it is. It's called Love of Heights. And so the original image looks like this. See how they're kind of ghostly looking faces? Why it did that, I can only assume that it's the Dia de los Muertos.
It does look like a sugar
kind
skull, doesn't
of.
it? Yeah.
Pardon?
Sugar skull.
Yeah, like a sugar skull, exactly. Like, so that's the association, which frankly is just a really ignorant, silly association. I mean, to me, it's just like, okay, we're talking about Peru. We're not talking about
They
Mexico.
don't do that in the Andes, right?
But anyway.
I don't think that's part of that culture.
Not really. Not per se.
Not that I know.
It's more of a Mexican
You're right.
holiday. But so what I did, and this was from OpenArt. OpenArt is an AI program that has a lot of capability, because what it will do is it will take text prompts, but it will also take sketches, and it will also allow you to make sketches. You can even create your own AI model. You can create a visual model if you group together images that are similar enough to kind of create
That's a lot of fun to do that.
It is, I've tried it a couple times. I have not yet succeeded in creating.
That technology's new.
It's real new, and it's the images have to be very, very similar, because what it's trying to extract is kind of, the stylistic elements, the elements of art, the principles of the design that you are trying to kind of encompass.
Yeah. Well, how did you get it from being that initial ghostly image to the other one that's actual faces? That's
actual more, yeah. So what I did was I worked with it within OpenArt, and what you do is you can remix the images. You can focus in on the areas, kind of like you would in any graphic design program these days. You focus in on the images or the area you would want. Like for me, it was the faces, and so I changed up the faces. And what it does is it gives you X amount, let's say a dozen variations on that image, and you choose the one that you like the best, and then you can keep doing different iterations of it until you get the image that you want.
Right. I'm with you.
So yeah.
The Dream Bible over here. Stilts.
Oh.
There is a stilts in here.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. It's right here.
No, I believe you.
Usually in conjunction with people that are weirdos that have a fascination with elevators. It's very specific. To dream of walking on stilts indicates that your fortune is not secure.
Oh.
You wealthy individual?
Well, we established this earlier. No.
Just asking again.
Yeah.
I'm not testing your integrity or.
No, I wish.
If you fall
I'm willing to take, donations, and
Good luck with that. We'll see if that happens. If you fall from stilts or feel them break beneath you, did that happen in this dream? Okay.
No.
You'll be precipitated into embarrassment by trusting your affairs into the care of others. How does that make you feel now?
Wow. Well,
But your picture has actually 2 sets of weird stilt things on the bottom. So I think it's more of a holding you up, propping you up, if you will.
Yeah. And, the funny thing, of course, with AI is that this is, first of all, walking on stilts is not something that everyone has experienced. I have done a little bit of that. Little bit, just a very little bit. But I think most of us humans who have seen stilts know that most stilts have, one leg, that ends in some kind of a stopper or whatever. And this one has 2. And I thought that was such a cute little add-on that I wanted to keep it. It was just bizarre in a way, but I like it. And one thing I want to clarify is that this image that I get from OpenArt, even the one that I've manipulated and made into a different image, that is just the starting point. That is my composition that then I am going to create a painting, a drawing, some kind of artwork of my own that is going to represent that dream. So my whole reason for wanting to use these AI images, to create these AI images, is to have a reference that I can then that I can produce in another way. So I had a number of different dreams about. I had one dream where I saw multiple versions of black cotton candy.
Right, which I said was the name of my next album.
This is the drawing that I created from.
Oh, I like that.
The black cotton candy, and so the composition pretty much matches what the AI gave me. And I need to check, but I'm pretty sure that this was from Canva, from Magic Studio, that it put this together. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe that was the case. And so the composition, this is the composition that it gave me essentially. I mean, I made a few different choices with it, but so it helped me in that way in kind of visualizing how I was going to, to create this black cotton candy. And it's a very satisfying image. But you were saying don't eat the black cotton candy. I mean, so one of the things that I reported in my dream report was a question. I wonder if it tastes like licorice.
That's kind of what I would think.
Because it's the only other candy that I can think of that's
what flavor
black.
Is that? Otherwise, right?
I would think that it's licorice, and truly, I mean, like if I were to do kind of the action plan, this was my action plan, right?
Yeah.
The artwork was my action plan, but another action plan might be to find or create black cotton candy. And I actually priced the cotton candy makers and looked into, is there any black cotton candy? And there is, in fact, black cotton candy, yes.
There is? Mm-hmm. And what's the flavor of it?
That I have not verified yet, because I've not purchased the black cotton candy nor the cotton candy machine.
I think that would be a hit in a lot of different circumstances.
Well, it's a very kind of it's elegant. It's like, right? It's like more like adult, just like licorice is a more adult candy.
I was thinking more like a raves. You go to Lollapalooza.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Different kinds of.
I'm not a big champion of cotton candy, but I know you can get pink in whatever color at a game. Go to a ball game downtown. And get whatever color you want. Yeah. You're not going to sell a lot of black cotton candy down there. But if you get a really cool band playing in the background.
Like some kind of a goth group or something like that. Yeah.
You'd sell.
I think it'd be a hit.
You'd sell the hell out of those, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'd be a good side gig for somebody.
I got to know what the flavor is, though.
Well, I'm rooting for licorice. I think that we should bring licorice back. But also, I mean, to be quite honest with you, the whole idea of black cotton candy, I am a black person, and there's something about that that, the interpretation of, like, when we think of all the different candies that there are, all the different colors of candy. So, as a Black person, my dreams do have to do with race at times. Again, it's that experience that I've had, that has kind of that affects the way I view things. But I saw the black cotton candy in a way as being similar to other aspects of life, where the black thing is less desirable than the other colors, if you will. And so even in showing this piece, like, to me, and I will have a series of pieces when I'm done of black cotton candy, that it's like a symbol for that thing that is either like strange, unknown, undesirable, but wanting, to show to an audience, this is the particular, beauty difference of this cotton candy, which, symbolically can relate to all kinds of other things in terms of color. And one of the things I did notice in my AI work was that there were a lot of those kinds of symbols. Here's a good example. One of the dreams that I had was I'm driving my red Mercedes convertible, which I of course don't have in real life. I was
going to ask you that. Yeah.
I'm driving it through a really beautiful resort area with a big garden. I get stuck in the garden, and there's a staircase that I end up at. And I decide, oh, heck, I'm just going to lift the car over my head and go down the stairs.
Okay.
I took the stairs that time.
That makes total sense to me.
But here, look at the image, because the image is hilarious. Okay. And one of the things, of course, with AI is, sometimes we have more limbs, or sometimes our eyes are a little weird, or we have extra digits.
Almost every time I mess around with it, it's got some aberrant view of the human figure.
Yes. And that's, I think it's hilarious, and it's also...
Which that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if AI can pull all these selfies and everything that people are posting with their hot dog legs at the beach, and then they got all these pictures of duck lips and whatever that crap is, and then they have all... How can you not piece together the human form?
Well,
you got the torso right. But shoulders, just fine. Ankles, Eric, knees, check. The rest of it, nah.
But Eric, when you think about it, it's also generated in seconds. I mean, one of my AI, Vertex AI, I called it my 6-second wonder, because it would always generate a report within 6 seconds. And so, of course, it's going to get you part of the way there. It's not going to do all the work.
Well, these lazy computers better up their game, because
they will. They will.
We're not using an abacus.
I think we just need to give them a little
calculator.
Bit of time. All right, I'm almost there. Okay, Canva images. Yes. All right, so here we have 3 different images of the woman carrying the Mercedes down the stairs, which are pretty satisfying.
That Mercedes is a little small.
It's a little small.
That's like an old Fiat at best.
She's not like completely like...
That's a Nash.
Holding it.
Where I come from. Those are very small cars. And I'm pretty sure I could lift that car over my head too, depending on if it looks like a 1-cylinder engine in there. Just a 2-stroke.
Yeah, it's it's cute, and it's a little silly, a little ridiculous, but it captured what I saw in my dream, which was my goal, which is also kind of silly and ridiculous. But yeah.
There's probably a road that goes around those stairs, I'm thinking.
Well, at the moment, that was the best
start
solution I could
directing
come
your
up with.
dreams a little better to work for you.
It wasn't that heavy.
We'll put a lot of these pictures on the podcast so people can see, what you work with and the kind of ideas you come up with in the art side.
Great.
We're going to put your email here down as well.
Great.
And so
yeah.
that if you folks listening to this, if you want to talk about dreams or the art program or any other concepts here, even working with interpretations or whatever, you can tell me whatever you got, and I'll give you the answers right here in the Dream Bible. I'm going to tell you what's what. You don't want to listen to anybody else. This is definitive. You heard the stilts thing about the elevator. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It's been a great pleasure and an honor to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Eric. I've had a blast with you, and yeah.
I hope you did.
Thank you.
I hope you got something out of this, and thanks for your son coming along as well.
Yeah, he's a good sport, and he knows there's lunch afterwards.
Well, that's good. Go yourself some chicken nuggies. Whatever the deal is. Hope you enjoyed the episode, folks. If you want to get any other information about dreams and the art program here, reach out to Teresa. We'll see you next time, folks.